And so welcome to the Paul Clark podcast. Today I want to talk about the Trump within. The Trump within. We've all got our own Donald Trump. Now I understand that for many of you, you're probably sick to death of hearing me talk about the whole US presidential election. It's all I ever talk about on social media. My statuses on Facebook is Trump, 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 Trump. My retweets on Twitter are Trump, 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 Trump. It's the first thing I think of when I wake up in the morning. It's the last thing I think of at night. I am obsessed. It's my life at the moment, is the whole US election and Donald Trump. But it has ignited a fire within me. And I wanna look at this from a much more personal perspective, if I may. And how what Donald Trump is doing, going up against the status quo, is something that maybe we can all learn from and take heed from and be inspired by. Be inspired to not just accept your lot in life, not just accept the status quo, not just accept that this is the way things are and this is how it's always going to be and let's just accept it. That's your lot in life. That's it. But excel and try to do better. And I think we all reach a point like that in our lives. But for me personally, and this is going to be a very personal podcast, so if you want to tune out because it's maybe a bit too self-indulgent, I wouldn't blame you, quite frankly. I wouldn't blame you. But my life has pretty much been, I would say, a reasonably easy ride. I've had ups and downs. We all have ups and downs. But I've not really felt the need, because I guess in some ways I've kind of been given everything. I've not really felt the need to excel. I've not really felt the need or the desire to move on and do better. And I've just always accepted my place in life. I've never really had, I guess, a vision for where I need to go and what I need to do. Because in many ways, I'm easily distracted. And as long as I've got my TV set, as long as I've got my games console, as long as I've got my Wi-Fi and my phone, and as long as I've got my food and my Coca-Cola, most importantly of all, you've got to have the Coca-Cola, right? As long as I've got all that, I'm kind of comfortable, really. And as long as I'm okay and my family and my friends are okay, that's it. That's it. But eventually, we all hit a wall, and when we hit that wall, the wall of reality, when reality comes a knocking and shakes you, and basically makes you wake up, and you look around at your life, and you think, okay, well, my life's not bad, my life's still not bad, but it could be better. It could be better. And Donald Trump has been that wall for me. Donald Trump has been that reality check for me that has made me look around and go, do you know what? I can make my life great again. Like he wants to make America great again. I can make my life great again. Now, Donald Trump is facing an uphill struggle. He is facing the establishment. He is facing the status quo. He is facing politicians with their donors and special interests that don't want change, that believe this is as good as it's going to get, that basically the American people should accept their lot in life. This was the same with Brexit. David Cameron never wanted to give us a referendum on the EU. He never wanted to do that. He was bullied into it by UKIP. And even though I've got absolutely no time for UKIP whatsoever, or Nigel Farage, I'll give them credit where credit's due. They forced David Cameron. They made him listen. And they made him give a referendum to the British people. But David Cameron and the political elite were basically betting on the British public's desire not to change, the desire for the status quo, the fact that they were trying regularly through mainstream media like the BBC and all the networks out there that had a special interest of their own for us staying in the European Union. They were relying on them to basically beat us into submission and keep us in the EU. The media, to which Hillary Clinton would be nothing without. If Hillary Clinton didn't have CNN or the BBC on her side, the mainstream media, she would be nothing. She would be nothing. But she's relying on them doing all the work for her and beating the American people into submission by making them believe this is as good as it's going to get. This is the way it's always been. This is the way it always will be. Just elect her. Just elect Obama. Vote to remain in the EU because this is good. This is good as it gets. In my life, stay in your job, Paul. This is as good as it's going to get. Just stay for another year. Just elect Hillary Clinton for another year. Let's just stay in the EU just to see, give it a year and we'll see what happens. No. Eventually, that line of, look, just give it a chance. Give us a chance. Give us politicians a chance to prove to you that we can do the job that we failed at doing for the last 40 bloody years. Eventually it wears thin. It wears thin. And people get sick of it. And from an individual's point of view, you have to sometimes look around you and think, how can you keep on doing the same old thing? How can you keep on doing the same old mundane routine? Eventually it gets to a point where you have to wake up and go, no, enough is enough. And that happened to me. That happened to me on Friday at work. I realised that enough is enough and it's time for me to move on and excel and be better than what I currently am. But I am also fighting against an establishment of my own. People, family that believe, no. What are you doing? Just stay as you are. What you changing for? Just stay as you are. Why would you want to excel? Why would you want to change your circumstances? Why? Just why would you? That's really it. They can't understand. It's like, why not just stay as you are? Because at the moment, with the economy and everything that's going on, you just don't know. Or you want to save up for America, don't you? You want to go on holiday. There's all these things to sort of keep you or make you doubt that actually, do you know what? Maybe I should just do another year because you've got a holiday coming up. So you think, okay, I'll stick with the job just for a while. I'll just stick with it for another year because I've got my holiday coming up in America, or the economy's bad and I might not find something else. So I'll just stick as I am, and see what happens, further down the line in 6 months or 12 months or 18 months. Eventually you get sick of that. And eventually you have to look at your own self and think what's going to be best for you. What's going to be best for you? And what is best for me is to change my life and to move on and to do something better. To have a belief in myself that, do you know what, I can do something other than cleaning. I can excel beyond the earnings that I have. Because if I showed you my paycheck, you would look at it and you would be like, why? Why are you getting up for that? But I've led a lifestyle where that's been enough to sustain me for a very, very long time. For about 10, 11 years. I've been more than happy to be raking in this kind of an income. But eventually, your needs and desires and interests change. And you start thinking, okay, I want something else now. I want a better standard of life. But it suits your boss, your management, for you not to move on and change. it suits your family to keep up the same status quo. You'll get advice from your friends that will, some of them will support you, others maybe not. I have to say, all my friends have been fantastic. Those that I've told anyway, about my current situation. They've been more than supportive of what I'm doing. And I really, really appreciate that. And I believe eventually my family will hopefully come around and accept the fact that it's time for me to make my life great again. And I believe that the American people will wake up come November 8th and won't elect Hillary Clinton, won't elect the same old, won't elect the status quo again for another 4 years, another 8 years, another 20 years, another 100 years. It's time to change. And that change was Brexit. That change is Donald Trump. And the change in my own life right now is about to begin. And Donald Trump has ignited that within me. And even if he loses the election, he's still won. He's won for me. He is my hero. I can kind of admit that now. And many of you out there are probably appalled by that, sickened by that. But that man has inspired me. That man, I mean, it's ridiculous that a billionaire reality TV star has had this impact on my life. It's stupid. Because he is everything that I'm against. Big business, management people who think that they're above everybody else. And Donald Trump certainly is above the rest of us because, you know, not only financially is he a billionaire several times over, but just look at Trump Tower. You know, it sky rises way up into the clouds of New York City, and he can just look down on that city and feel like a god. That stuff doesn't impress me. Big houses don't impress me. Flash cars don't impress me. But Donald Trump has impressed me by standing on stage, sticking up for the underdog, sticking up for people who feel that they've been left out in the cold by politicians who don't care about them anymore. And by Donald Trump fighting against these politicians, fighting against the status quo, and saying to these people, saying to the American public, you can do better than this, and we can do better than this, and we will make America rich again, strong again, and great again. And I, ignited by Donald Trump, by the fire within, the Trump within, I will make myself rich again. I will make myself strong again. And I alone will make poor Clark great again. Thanks for listening. Speak to you again very, very soon.